This video looks at solving quadratics with the Null Factor Law. Solving an equation is making both sides equal to each other. And with the Null Factor Law, it's when quadratics, you'll notice this, looking at them equal to 0. Because these two are multiplying together, that means either the first term must be equal to 0, or the second term must be equal to 0, or they both could be equal to 0. So we're going to solve either side or both sides to find the solutions. Let's look at the first quadratic equation. Either of these sides must equal 0, so we're going to let them be equal to 0. So x plus 2 is equal to 0, or 3x plus 4 is equal to 0. Then it is simply being able to solve the equation as you would any other equation, a linear equation. So in this case, x is equal to -2 because we subtract 2 from both sides. And if we solve this side of the equation, 3x is going to be equal to -4, which means x is going to be equal to -4/3. So those are our solutions. Same thing with the other side. To take 5x, let it be equal to 0, and do it down here, 6 plus 8x equal to 0. Then we just need to solve them. So -5x is going to be equal to -2, and then if we divide both sides by -5, x is going to be equal to 2/5. Same with the other side. 8x is going to be equal to -6. Taking 6 from both sides, which means x is going to be equal to -6/8, which you could simplify as well into -3/4. Sometimes you'll be required to solve quadratic equations that have 3 terms. If they have 3 terms like this, then the first thing you need to do is factorize them. So we're wanting it to look like this. So the same thing, we are looking for 2 terms that multiply to -6 but add to -5 to get this right. I know off the top of my head this one is straightforward, that those 2 terms are going to be -6 and +1. -6 times 1 is -6, and -6 adding on a +1 is -5. So our quadratic equation will look like this. Then we're able to go and solve the quadratic equation, letting both sides equal 0. So x take 6 equal 0, and x plus 1 equal 0. Therefore, the solutions are going to be x equals 6, or x is equal to -1. You might get quadratic equations that look like this one. You'll notice that on this side, it is not equal to 0. So we want to go and put this term onto the left-hand side so that it will be equal to 0. So we're going to need to subtract 15 from both sides. So therefore, our equation is going to be equal to x squared plus 14x, take 15, and that's going to be equal to 0. Then we are going to be able to solve it. So we're going to be looking for 2 terms that multiply to -15 but add to +14. So yet again, off the top of my head, I can tell you that those terms are 15 and -1. So therefore, that's what our equation is going to look like. X plus 15, x take away 1 equals 0. You could check that by expanding the quadratic if you like. Therefore, we need to let both of them equal 0 to be able to solve. X plus 15 is equal to 0. X take 1 is equal to 0. Therefore, x is going to be equal to negative 15, or x is going to be equal to positive 1. Sometimes your quadratics will be non-monic, meaning that there is a coefficient outside the front. So the way I solve those is I look for the factor pair, knowing that a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c. I look for the factor pair of a and c. So I multiply those two together. 2 times 6 equals 12. In that case, I'm looking for two factors of 12 that add to the middle term. So straight away I can see that it's going to be 6 and 2. They multiply together to get 12, and they add together to get 8. So therefore, I can then start thinking about making my equation a little easier to work with. So 2x squared plus, I use these terms as the middle two, so I expand it further, plus 6x plus 2x plus 6. Then I can simplify this quadratic equation. I then look for the highest common factor between two of the terms. I can see both of them next to each other have a highest common factor. This first one, you can take out 2x. Dividing both sides by 2x, we're going to be left with x plus 3. Because 2's cancel out, x squared divided by x is 1x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. X divided by x, it cancels out. On the other side, they have a highest common factor of 2. So I'm going to divide both of those sides by 2, which is going to give me 2 of x plus 3. Therefore, using what I've known from earlier, I'm able to then simplify that further by x plus 3, and then use these two terms to make the second brackets 2x plus 2, or vice versa, could have been the other way around. You could then check to make sure that is right. X times 2x is 2x squared. Then we're going to end up with times 2, which is 2x. Then 3 times 2x is the 6x, which then in turn gives us the 8x. And then the 3 times by the 2 gives us the 6. So then we need to let this equation equal 0. I'm going to flip the page to use this equation. We're now then able to solve this using the null factor law. So x plus 3 is equal to 0, 2x plus 2 is equal to 0. So therefore x is equal to negative 3, or 2x is equal to negative 2, x is equal to negative 2 on 2, so x is equal to negative 1. So those are our solutions. That is how you can solve quadratic equations using the null factor law.